Hey everyone, welcome. Welcome to the Pre-Accelerator program. Oh, excellent. Welcome. Thank you everyone that's joining us. Now, just to let you know, we are doing a little bit of practice tonight using a brand new Zoom system called StreamYard, and we've got the lovely Lucy in the background that is the producer. So she's going to muck around with things because we're just getting a bit of practice with it. So we hope you enjoy it. Please be interactive, type some stuff in the chat, and let us know what you're thinking. Ask some questions. We've got heaps to talk about tonight, and there'll be people joining. So tonight we're going to talk about the Pre-Accelerator program that I've run now for 2 years. This will be the third year. And we've already got about 20 businesses or enterprises that have joined. And we hope to get some more because it is going to be all online, we think, depending on how COVID goes. Perhaps the first half will be online. We can accommodate for plenty more. So looking forward to you guys joining us. So we've got a little video that we took of one of the members that was in the last cohort. His name's Lang. And Lang joined us with an idea that wasn't very scalable. And through the process of validating his business, he realized that it really wasn't suited to what startups are all about. And that is having massive growth. And so he pivoted during the program and started a different business, which we helped him with, which he is now ready to go. And so the video, hopefully you enjoy, and that will give time for other people to join us. So Lucy, roll the tape of our wonderful video. Lang, how are you?
Welcome. Good to see you. What's with the getup?
Mate,
You look good.
mate, it's a volunteering app, isn't it?
That is right.
I'm going to be a volunteer umpire this year.
What's with the tea towels, mate?
Well, it's funny you should ask, Lang. How's the startup going?
It's going great.
Yeah?
We've got our first clients lined up.
Yeah? So you got a couple of clients?
2 sports clubs.
Yep.
That agreed to try us out.
Tell us about the business that you've started and put through the program.
For sure. When I first participated in the Pre-Accelerator program, I actually had a different idea.
Okay.
But sort of through the process, I realized that it wasn't really scalable, and it certainly didn't have the time to value that I was looking for.
Right.
It was more like a very service-based, like traditional business.
Yep.
Whereas, I really wanted to have that hockey stick startup,
Yep.
return for my time.
Yep.
So through the Accelerator, I sort of pivoted into this member clubs teams idea, which is a volunteering system that allows volunteer organizations to reduce their overheads by really streamlining that whole the way that they manage their volunteers. These 2 sports clubs came to us with a problem, and their problem was they had a bottleneck of where they're organizing 50 events every week for their members.
Yep.
And every event needs a coach, an umpire, someone officiating, someone scorekeeping.
Yep.
And it just got too hard for them to manage it on a week by week because everything was done by spreadsheets.
Oh, nightmare.
Well, yeah, it's spot on. It's because there's not really some system out there where it really focuses on managing these volunteer activities.
Right. Okay. So you've gone from what essentially was a consulting idea to a product now.
Yeah, spot on. Through the Accelerator, I thought it much better just to go straight into that product. centralized.
Okay, and that's something that startups do a lot. That is, most people come with a particular idea. We validate it through the accelerator program and the process. And in your case, you pivoted away to something that is more startup-ish, where, you know, you talk about that J curve where you've got this massive growth or potential growth opportunity, which is what startups, you know, everyone is after.
Yeah.
That's great. And so how did you find the program?
It was amazing. I think it was 8 weeks, so it was. I particularly liked how the pacing of it,
Right.
where it wasn't so intense, but it was still jam-packed full of useful information.
Yep.
I think one of we followed the lean canvas approach.
Yes, lean canvas, very popular.
Yeah.
Yep.
Taking things, you know, getting to that minimum viable product as fast as possible.
Yep.
And I particularly like the guest speakers that featured.
Fantastic. And so it was 1 day a week, which was a pretty full day.
Yeah.
And then it really did require, say, another day of your time during the week, because you were working full time at the time.
Yeah, I was. But I think it was, you did have to do some work, obviously. But it wasn't so intense where you couldn't balance it out with everything, with the other commitments.
Yeah. So what was your favorite bit of the program?
Well, I really enjoy pitching.
Okay.
So, you know, at the end of the program, we had the opportunity to pitch our idea in front of, you know, a panel of guest speakers, as well as other people, attendees.
Yep.
And, well, I came second, so
yes.
So that's something. So I guess I'm a bit biased to say that was my.
So what now for the business slang? Where you at?
Well, it's actually a pretty exciting time for member club teams. So we've just finished our MVP after 6 months of dev. Yep. And we're just rolling it out to our first few clients.
Excellent.
They're gonna test
Cool.
2 sports clubs. Who's gonna test our system.
Yep. And they're development partners.
That's right. Yes.
Yep. Okay. Well, it's been great to talk to you, and you know, you certainly. We hope to get you back as a guest speaker.
Yeah, for sure.
During the program, I think a lot of people would, you know, really love to hear your journey.
And maybe I'll bring you along to one of my games, and you can umpire it.
Mate, I'm ready. I got my flags. I've got everything. That's fantastic. All right, mate.
Awesome.
Good to see you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks.
Take care, mate.
Well, there you go. So that was a little video that we did, and the lovely Lucy, who is controlling all the production in the background, she helped us out with that. So thank you very much, Lucy, for that. It still makes me laugh every time I see those kids, and that bloody little kid hit me right on the head with that football. But anyway, that so be it. So awesome. So away we go. So a couple of things about the Pre-Accelerator program to remember. That is that it is presented with the wonderful people at La Trobe University. They have a probably more advanced accelerator program, and we present it alongside them. And also it is supported by Study Melbourne, which is terrific. And having their support means that we can bring you lots of really good guest speakers. We do not charge for it. So, you know, we welcome every single person to come along. And we do pitch it towards internationals, international students or internationals in general. However, locals are, of course, welcome to join as well. In fact, I'm making sure that there's some locals there because I want the internationals to grow their networks. So, Lucy, if we can start the presentation slides, and we'll go through what we're going to cover during the program. So the Pre-Accelerator programs, it will start in the first week of April. I think it's the 5th of April. It will be on a Monday. And so Monday, the 5th of April, is when we'll be starting, and we'll be going through it. It'll be over 8 weeks. So if we have a look now at what we'll be doing over the 8 weeks, and just let it flick through for me, Lucy. So the 8 weeks, the first week, a bit of an introduction, making sure that we all get to know each other. We will then be looking at goal setting. We'll be looking at the customer discovery and market validation. This is probably where we really start getting into the guts of what a startup should be. Business development, pricing. I've got a friend of mine who'll be joining us that is a pricing guru. We're looking at IT. Most of the startups will most likely have an IT element to it. We'll then be looking at marketing and selling in Australia. Then we'll actually, for those who want to, we'll actually be creating the websites, including looking at the cybersecurity, and with that we'll be looking at sustainability as well. And then the final week we'll be pitching and presenting, and depending on COVID, we should be able to get 30 to maybe 50 people along, including some investors. And I'll give you a few examples later of a couple of businesses who were able to secure investors and some money through our program. We'll just go to the next slide. So week number 1, doing business in Australia. So the number one thing for internationals, a big issue that they have, is that they don't know what type of entities we have in Australia and what's the best entity for them to start a business. Now, it's most likely going to be a company for most of you, although it may be a trust. Now, I'm a chartered accountant. I worked a couple of years at KPMG and then a very large accounting firm called Pitcher Partners here in Melbourne for 10 years. And I've actually started 20 businesses myself, so I know a little bit about structuring. But we'll be bringing along some experts to talk about that. And the type of things that we want to look at is how do we limit your liability if things go wrong, how to pay the least amount of tax for when you start making millions of dollars, and also what is the best entity to do capital raising in. Now, as I say, it's probably going to be a company, but there are some unique circumstances where you might want to choose something else. What are the preferences for Australia and Australians? You know, how do you set up a business to make sure that if you are going to start off pitching your product or service to Australians, you know, what do they like to see and what are they used to? And of course, then we'll be telling you where to go and get money. There is so much money around, it is ridiculous. I'm actually in an accelerator program at the moment where I took one of my ideas, and the government is actually giving me $180,000 to go out and build my idea. And we'll talk about that, and I'll use that as an example. And in fact, I'm going to invite the people who run that accelerator program to speak to everybody so that you can think about what you can do to change your business so that you can pitch it to them, and perhaps you too can share in some of the money that government has. A big part of it is going to be your access to professional networks. And that is absolutely massive, because I think, you know, I've been in business now for a number of years. There's nothing I can't do in Melbourne or in Australia for that matter without going through a friend. And I'll be opening up my networks to you guys as well, including investors. So next slide. Into week 2. During week 2, as soon as that flicks over, we'll be looking at the most contemporary way to build a business plan for a startup business. And it's called Lean Canvas. And Strategizer is a fantastic company that shares a lot of this information online. We'll be going through setting up the Lean Canvas methodology for your each individual business. And depending on who's around at the time, I'll bring some people in to help us as well. And by this stage, we'll be allocating to you an individual mentor that you can meet with one-on-one every week. Now, depending on how you get along with your mentor, you know, you might get more out of them. The mentors are very motivated. So, for example, if there's anyone that is in the fashion industry, we've got someone that's already set up businesses in fashion. We have people who know robotics back to front. We know people who are experts in IT. So we'll be getting those people to help you out. So Lean Canvas It takes quite a bit of time to develop a lean canvas, and it is a dynamic document. And this will be the start of when people start thinking, perhaps my idea is not quite as scalable as what I originally thought. And that is okay. It doesn't matter. We actually don't really care too much about your idea. And the reason for that is, and why I say that is that as an entrepreneur, I've had hundreds of ideas, okay? What we're trying to do is teach you how to evaluate every idea that you have for the rest of your life. And so don't worry too much if the idea that you bring doesn't turn out to be the idea that you think is going to turn into the next unicorn worth $1 billion. Because I dare say that it will be the second or the third, or in my case, the 20th idea that I had that I actually did something about, that I think will be the one that will turn into $1 billion company. So once we get this done, week 3, we will look at the next part of the lean canvas, and that is looking at the value. Sorry, if you can go back one for me, Lucy. Okay, the other part of the lean canvas is actually looking at the value proposition. This is actually my favorite part. This is where we really get into the guts of what your startups will be doing. And so if you look at there's 2 things on the screen I want you to concentrate on, and that is gains and pains. Now, from a client point of view, what you're doing, what all startups do, is that they solve a problem for people. Now, if you think about someone that gets headaches, someone that's got a headache has got a pain that needs, and a problem of having this pain in their head that needs solving right now. So the best thing for that, the pain reliever for that, is like an aspirin or paracetamol, which is a Panadol, perhaps. So if someone's got a headache, you want to be selling paracetamol. However, if someone doesn't have a headache right now but is prone to headaches, what you want to be selling are supplements, nutrients, things that will stop them getting a headache. And that's a distinction that we have between pains and gains versus pain relievers and gain creators. It's a difference between someone with a headache or prone to getting a headache, whether or not you want to be selling something like an aspirin to solve that pain that they have right now, or selling vitamins so that will stop them from getting pains in the future. 2 different service and product offerings. So, you know, depending on what your idea is, we're going to work all that for you. So to week 3. Week 3, we then move into what's going to be the toughest part of the Pre-Accelerator, and that is validating your idea. And we'll be using a methodology called the 4 phases to customer discovery. And so this is really the crux of what startups are doing in the world to get their businesses to market. And that is that you'll be stating a hypothesis. So you'll be stating something like, I believe that people with headaches will want to take paracetamol, and you'll be testing that in the marketplace. And as I say, this is probably going to be the toughest part, because we're going to get you to go out and speak to 100 potential customers. And it's hard work. And I think that, you know, for Lang, who was in the video that you saw, he probably only got to speak to 30 customers in the end. However, he was able to validate with them that the problem that they had was worth solving, that the solution that he was proposing was worth doing, and that these potential customers would pay to have that problem solved. And it's the most important bit. And it was here that he decided to change his idea, because the idea he had before didn't stack up. And it was only once he pivoted, which is something startups do a lot, pivoted from what he started with to something slightly different, that then everything started to happen for him. And now, after 6 months worth of development, he now has a product that's going to go live in the marketplace next week, Monday at 2 p.m. How do I know that? I'm going to be there with him. I'm going to go with him because I want to see it happen, because I'm really excited about what he's done. So you're going to be pretty busy for the rest of the startup of the Pre-Accelerator program, testing this with as many people as you possibly can. Week 4, you'll be continuing to validate your hypothesis with all your customers. However, now we really start to flesh out with some of the information that you've gained from all of your validation, what the product looks like, what is the business model. Subscription models is what everybody wants because they're valued so highly. I actually had a board meeting today, and this was something that we spoke about at length in the 4-hour board meeting, where I've actually got some non-executive board members that, it feels like a butt-kicking session every single month when I go into the board, but it was very enjoyable today. But they're looking for us to introduce a subscription model to lock people in to revenue, paying little bits of money every single month, because we know that just like your gym membership, how many people in the audience have a gym membership that they're paying and they hardly ever go to? That's the type of revenue that we want. So whether it be subscription or transactional or a membership model, we're going to talk about that. What is the pricing model? How much should you charge? The natural thing for people is normally that they charge way too little for what they're doing. If you look at Apple, the iPhone 12, I got my new phone on the weekend. My goodness, $2,500 this silly thing is. It's the most expensive when you launch. It only gets cheaper as time goes on. But people in startup land, people new to businesses, they tend to do it the other way around. We do not want that. Now, for those of you who want to, we will actually create a 3-way budget for you where we will be budgeting and forecasting your business for the next 1, 2, up to 5 years. And we'll actually provide you with the resources in the form of interns that will do that for you. And that way you've got something to hand to investors together with your business plan, which is a lean canvas and value proposition canvas, to show them that these are the assumptions about your business and what you expect your business to be able to achieve over a couple of years in its first few years. So week 5, just trying to keep up. Week 5, we were then going to really take a good look at IT. Now, as I said, most businesses will have an IT element. In fact, a startup, by its very definition these days, will definitely have an IT element to it. It may be a web application. It may just have a website. It may have an e-commerce site. But again, we'll be providing you with some resources to go and build these things, but we are going to give you access to some pretty clever IT architects to talk about the type of technologies that you need to use, the ones that are going to be more favorable for startups. Now, with that, it's most likely going to be open source. It will not be expensive things like Microsoft, because there's not a startup on the planet that would use anything Microsoft to start their business. Why? It costs too much and locks you into their ecosystem. There's a friend of mine who just sold his business for over $100 million. And he unfortunately chose Microsoft 20 odd years ago and got stuck in it. And 4% of his total turnover now goes to Microsoft every single year. If he was able to add 4% to his bottom line, given it's quite a substantial business, that's actually millions of dollars that could be going to him instead of Microsoft. So those choices of technologies and hosting partners is going to be really, really important, and we'll be going through those, and your mentors will be going through those with you individually to make sure you make the right choices. And on the screen there, you'll see that there's lots and lots of choices. Most of those on the screen are free, and we want you to access anything that's free. Hosting, of course, that's normally Amazon or AWS. It's just a commodity. Really, all we care about is how cheap it is. We want the cheapest possible solution. Couple of things you'll hear me say all the time. Never, ever fall in love with the technology, because really it's just an enabler. It's actually what you do that's important, okay? Not what platform it's on. You just want the cheapest and the best and the fastest. We'll introduce you to some project management tools as well. There's plenty of them. things that will do Gantt charts, help you with developing your proof of concept, MVPs, roadmaps, all those type of things. And again, for those who are perhaps a little more advanced, will actually get you resources that these people will come in and do all this for you as well. But we'll see who does want those, who are those startups that are a little bit more advanced. We'll then, in week number 6, we will look at entrepreneurial marketing and selling in Australia. And there's some incredible tools out there, again, most of which are free, that you can utilize to prove your concepts, to deliver your product into the marketplace as a minimum viable product. Hi, Angela. Thank you for putting that in the chat. Also, too, please feel free to post any questions you like in the chat, and I'm very happy to answer them as we go along. So with entrepreneurial marketing and selling, there's a really good friend of mine who will come along, and this guy is an absolute genius at pricing. And he went into a company, a publicly listed company, and spent 6 months working out how they should be pricing their products, and introduced a new methodology that the day after they made the announcement that they had implemented what he had done, their share price went up by 4%. That added an extra $400 million to the valuation of that company. So very simple things such as your pricing strategy can make a massive difference in the marketplace. And I'm forever grateful for my friend John, who will come and deliver, a 1 or 2 hour presentation to you to talk about how to price your product and your services. Week 7 is a bit of a catch-up week. Although we will be talking about sustainability, and so everyone should be thinking about sustainability, if for no other reason that companies who can tell and articulate a story that their product offering or their service offering is sustainable can charge more. And this is proven time and time again. And I've been working with 120 odd Victorian farmers through the good people at La Trobe Uni. And, we emphasize into a lot of these farmers who are producing produce that you've got to be saying that if you are sustainable, if you are organic, if the things that you are doing are low pesticides and all these type of things, you've got to tell that story. If for no other reason, you can charge more, okay? People pay 2-3 times as much for organic goods compared to stuff you just buy in Aldi or in Coles. And so we want to make sure that if you have that story to tell, that you are telling it. And where's the place to tell this? On your website, in your digital channels, on social media. And again, for those startups that we think are ready, we'll actually build websites for you. We will give you resources that if you want to get a website built and you don't know how to do that, we will get people that will do that for you to kickstart your startup. And investors love to see this. They love to see prototypes. They love to see a website. They want to see that you've got some traction. That's when people will invest with you and in you, and therefore we will provide you with some of those resources if we think it's suitable, if you've validated your idea and your product and service. Week 8 is probably the most fun. Yes, it'll be the culmination of 8 weeks of pretty hard work, because most of you are probably working or studying or doing something else, so therefore it's going to be pretty full on. But the pitch night is a lot of fun. And again, depending on COVID, we hope to have 30 or 50 up to 100 people along, and we'll get you to pitch your idea to all of these people, friends of ours through La Trobe and Outcome.life and Study Melbourne, and there'll be plenty of investors in the room that really would love to get in early with some of these ideas, and also to members of government that they're looking for startups to support. And so things like if you're doing something in the agriculture industry, if you're doing something to help international students, if you're doing something that solves the world's biggest problems at the moment, which is education, clean water, sanitisation, this type of thing, then there's plenty of government money out there to support you. You can go for grants. There's City of Melbourne grants, and we know all these people. And so if we think that your idea would be suited, we will put you in touch with these people, and you can go and pitch to them your idea and hopefully get some funding that will kickstart your business. Although there's one thing that I love more than free money, and that is revenue. And so the best funding that you can ever get is to actually sell something, sell your product, sell your service. And so there's no replacement for that. And so we'll be really encouraging you, if you get to that stage during the 8 weeks, just sell something, get out there and start generating revenue. There's nothing that investors like more than you're generating revenue, because it validates that the problem that you're solving, your solution is worth investing in. So that's week 8. And so, we're now going to talk about a couple of examples of people that have been through our accelerator program. And 2 brilliant examples is a company called Little Green Panda. And take a screenshot of this and go and have a look at the terrific work that Manon has done over the past 18 months. So Manon was in our very first cohort, and she had this idea that she wants to rid the world of plastic straws. And she's gone and sourced straws made of wheat and sugarcane and something else. I think there's 3 different types. And 18 months later, she has raised capital. She's selling tens of thousands of dollars of straws every single month, and she's in every single Woolworths store in the country. Unbelievable, amazing. She went through our program, then graduated into the La Trobe Accelerator program, and then graduated into an even higher accelerator program. And all the way along, the great thing that she did was generated revenue, which meant that everybody wanted her. She got her pick of accelerator programs to go into, and each of these gave her a little bit more money to help invest to make her go faster. And so Manon is one of our very good friends, and we will be inviting her and or her business partner, Doreen. They're both from France. They're international students. I think they've now got PR. And they will come and have lunch with us. Every week we are going to have lunch with an entrepreneur. And that's where, around 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, whenever it suits, I'm going to get everyone to go and get their lunch, and we're going to sit at our desks, and we're going to invite one of these wonderful people along and talk about what they have done. We've got people who have done Internet of Things businesses, product businesses like Little Green Panda, service businesses like Pencil Rocket, which is the next one I want to highlight. So you can see Daniel here. I think he was from either Malaysia or Singapore. I can't remember. And he had this terrific idea with his business partner, Nathaniel, that they wanted to do social media and video production. So he came along to the accelerator program. We supported them. We still give them lots of work. And they ended up getting so big, they started employing staff. And a fantastic story for Daniel is that he didn't have a path to permanent residency here in Australia. And so by going through our program and going through another accelerator program, he was able to qualify for the South Australian Entrepreneurship visa. Now, this is a new visa where if you start a business and they like it, of course, and you get accepted into their accelerator program, they will give you a visa for 4 years with a pathway to permanent residency. This is not the visa where you pay $1 million for a business and then you get a visa. This is an entrepreneurial visa where you do not have to invest not even $1 into your business. It just needs to be successful. Now, what's the definition of success? It's that you are generating revenue, or you are employing people, or that you're just paying tax. And so hence, we've now got 2 of our past cohort enterprises that are now in this program in Adelaide, where the internationals that had no pathway to permanent residency in Australia are now using their startups in order to get their permanent residency here, and they're both going extremely well. And we'll be getting both of those people to come and talk to you during the program, probably at the Lunch with an Entrepreneur. So that there's a couple of other people that I could talk about. However, this is probably a fantastic time in order for you to ask any questions that you have. I'm happy to answer questions, but while I wait for some questions to come through, a couple of things. First of all, it's free. We do not charge for this. I do get a little bit of money paid to me by the government in order to put this on. We have the support of La Trobe. We have the support of Study Melbourne. And with that wonderful support, we do not charge, nor do we take any equity in anyone's business, okay? The whole reason why we do this is to help anyone to learn how to evaluate a business and to get them started. Now, for most of our participants, it's almost an automatic entry into the much higher level La Trobe Accelerator program. In fact, all the people that did apply did get into the Accelerator program in the last cohort. And so it's a wonderful pathway and a wonderful introduction. Now, those programs are much longer and they are a lot more detailed. They're at a higher level. We'll need more of your time but they also do give you money as well. But a lot of, I would say that we've had 50 people that have from 14 countries that have put 30 enterprises through our Accelerator program. And I'd say 10 of those have gone on to commercialize their operations or are now in a lot more advanced Accelerator programs. So we know what we do works. And I know that a lot of in particular students that have gone through our program, they haven't started the business simply because at the end of the program, they themselves agreed that the idea that they had simply wasn't good enough. And one thing that I really want to get across to you guys is, as I said before, do not fall in love with the technology because technologies change. Don't fall in love with your business. I have started 20 businesses in my life. 10 of them were rubbish. And you have to fail fast. And that means that if it's no good and no one wants it, and it might be the best, you think it's the best solution to a problem in the world, but if no one is willing to take money out of their pocket and hand it over to have that problem solved, it's a dud. Get rid of it. Do not waste your youth on a business that is never, ever going to work. And so, again, our emphasis is to teach you how to validate business ideas so that you can go and start, like me, 20 businesses over 30 years. Get rid of the ones that don't go anywhere. Get rid of them quickly. Do not waste your time. Do not waste your youth. Definitely do not waste your money on them, and concentrate on those that have got some promise and that you can get some momentum behind you and start generating revenue. So, how to face failure in life? Great question, Yash. It's not failure, it's practice. And that's how I see it. If you decided that you were going to run a marathon, today you decided, I'm going to run a marathon, and you turned up this weekend and ran a marathon, and if you were to try and do that this weekend, you would probably die like the very first person who did run the marathon, which is why it is what it is, because the first person who ran the marathon keeled over and died because they ran 42.2 kilometers. To me, it's practice. There is no such thing as failure. You learn from it and you keep going. I'm happy to talk about my failures, or what I would call practice. There's actually in the Silicon Valley and also in other places around the world, Boulder, Colorado, and Istanbul, which is probably the second greatest city for starting a business, they will not allow you in unless you've started a business in the past, which means it didn't work, because they don't want anyone that's doing it for the first time. And so, good, bring along a bad idea. How do you know what a good idea is unless you have had a bad idea? So to me, entrepreneurs tend to be serial entrepreneurs. They keep reinventing themselves. And like me, I actually get really bored. I love starting businesses, but I hate running them. So even in my businesses at the moment, it started out as Outcome.life. We now have 20 odd staff around the country. And so now I'm off doing other things. And that's my mentor match business that I just started. And that's the one that went through the accelerator program with the government, who are, fingers crossed, about to sign an agreement to give me $180,000 for me to go and create a mentoring platform to mentor students at scale, international students, so that they can connect with communities and connect with professionals here in Australia, so that they can go on and and do great things. Now, just in case you didn't know, we're actually practicing tonight ourselves. We've got this brand new software called StreamYard, and I'd love to hear your feedback on whether or not you like it and whether it looks professional. And there's another question that just came up from Georgina, who we met earlier today. I have a business in mind, not my current role, but I've not started it due to funds to get the products in, so cannot provide proof of revenue. Is it okay to use it? Of course it is. We would love you to bring it along. Again, we don't even care about your idea. Trust me, we are not going to evaluate you. And if you want to join our program and you don't even have an idea, fine, I'll lend you one of mine. In fact, a couple of the people who went through the program last year, they quickly realized that their ideas were no good. I gave them one of my ideas, and I don't want anything for it. I just want you to remember me when you become a millionaire. Just chuck me a couple of $1 million for my kids' sake more than anything else. But just come along, be part of it, learn from others. You can even join one of the other groups if you like. That's part of the very first week. We did have a couple of people that were on their own by themselves, and what they did, they decided which idea was better, and they joined together and just went through the program. And that was a fantastic experience for them. And one of those people have now gone on to partner someone else in a startup, and she's doing tremendously well. And we'll probably get her along as well. So please put your questions through. Only too happy to help. A couple of things. The only type of business I do not like traditional businesses like a hairdresser. I do not like traditional businesses such as a consulting business. Consulting businesses and hairdressers are transactional, okay? A hairdresser, you've got no stock to sell. So if someone doesn't turn up for their hair appointment, then that opportunity is lost. You know, a hair-related business that I would like is, say, a subscription model that perhaps, you know, pay me $1,000 and you can get 20 haircuts for the next 12 months. At least that's scalable, that locks people in. That's the type of thing that we are after. So, you know, they're the only ones that I'm going to knock back. Otherwise, we allow just about every single idea in. So any more questions? Was today useful? You might want to pop in the chat whether today was useful, because really, that's all I really had for you. I'm going to put in the chat the form that you will need to complete. If you go to our website and you just search other services and you look for the Pre-Accelerator program, I will put it in the chat. I don't know how we get it to the screen. I don't know how you get it there, but Lucy will figure out a way to get it to the screen. Just go to that link on our website, fill in that form, it will come into me. We will then need to have there it is there. We just need to have a conversation over the phone. I just want to spend 5-10 minutes with you. I just want to make sure you're a real person and that your intentions are to come along, collaborate, join in, help others, help yourself. And then what I will then do is issue you with an invitation to our Slack channel, and then away we go. Now, the day of the week that we'll be doing this will be a Monday. all the people that have already signed up, that's the day that everyone seems to be the freest. For those of you who work and can't make it on the Monday, but still wish to come along, I will repeat everything that we do just in a more condensed format on the weekend. So the following weekend. And so I'll do that if there's a need. Hopefully everyone can come along. We'll also be recording all the events, so that way you can have a look at those. But I'll be helping people on the weekend if you can't come along and you can't join in the discussion that occurred on the Monday. So that's just to make sure that everybody gets some one-on-one time with me. Is it a full day? Not quite. It goes from 10 o'clock until 4 o'clock. So we do a bit of work. So we present for 1 to 2 hours in the morning. Then we have a break where you work on your business. So if we're doing the lean canvas, we'll present that for an hour or two. Then you have a couple of hours to work on that. Then we will have the lunch with an entrepreneur, which will go for an hour between 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock, depending on when they're available. Then we'll have the second part of the day for 1 or 2 hours, and then again you work on it. But the formal times will be 10 o'clock until 4 o'clock. But each day will have no more than 4 hours worth of me or someone preaching at you. Online attendance, yes, it must be online because of government regulations with COVID, and because it's part of Study Melbourne, it has to be online. Now, hopefully things change halfway through, and the reason being is that I have got the most beautiful co-working space in the city in Hardware Lane. It's 3 stories. It's a beautiful building. Fingers crossed that by the end of April that we're all able to come and you can spend as much time as you like there, and even for a month or 2 or 3 after the program finishes. I know that Manon, in her business with Little Green Panda, because we loved her so much and we loved what she was doing, and we knew that she was going to make it because she was just so passionate about what she was doing, we actually let her stay for almost 1 year. Not rent-free, right? But I think it was something small, like $50 a month or something. There had to be something that needed to be paid, but it was very, very little. But, until businesses get revenue, we're not going to charge you because we just don't want to put more barriers ahead of you. There's another question. What about non-profit? Now, profit and non-profit is no difference. There's just no difference. And I know this from being a chartered accountant for the last 30 years of my life. A for-profit business talks about revenue and expenses for a profit. A non-for-profit business a profit business has income and expenses for profit. A non-for-profit has revenue and outflows for a net cash surplus or deficit. Now, both need to have more money than they're spending in order for them to be sustainable. So therefore, the principles are exactly the same. And there's many, many people who have started non-for-profits, but the principles are exactly the same, but bring them along. Yeah, so that's about it, I think. We finished with 9 minutes to go. As I say, we'd love to have you all along. We've probably got around 15 people that are already part of the Accelerator program. We would love to get that to 20. We can probably go to 30. Enterprises, that is. Some people come in with a business partner or 2 or even 3. It's the number of enterprises, mainly because each enterprise needs a mentor. And so I can handle probably about 30. And so once we get to 30, that's when I'll probably close it off. But if that is of interest, please print out that form. That will come to me as an email. I will then give you a buzz over the next couple of working days, or maybe even over the weekend, because I'm going to be working on Saturday. I just want to have a quick chat with you just to make sure that you're a real person. I hope to have you all along. Tell your friends as well, okay? Tell them to come along, join the program. If we have room, we would love to have them along. And again, locals are just as welcome as the internationals. It's just that we want to make sure that we cover off on how to start a business here in Australia, especially in the first week. So yeah, so that's it. Unless there's any other questions, that's probably all we had. So Lucy, you can put the banner up the top. Let's see how good that is. Again, we're just playing around with this software. You can put my thing down the bottom, which will tell everyone who I am. Please connect with me on LinkedIn as well. That's one thing we actually forgot, Lucy. We should, if we ever run this again, we need to put my my LinkedIn. Please connect with me on LinkedIn if you haven't already. Make sure you send me a personal note. That's really important. You do not need LinkedIn Premium to do that. And whenever you connect with someone with the invitation request, you must send a personalized note. No excuses, because I get about 20 a day. 15 of them are normally people trying to sell me something I don't want, and therefore I normally delete them. I don't want to accidentally delete you. So again, thank you for coming. Atul, can we have a one-on-one chat? Atul, yes, we will. You cannot join the program unless we have a one-on-one chat. So fill in the form. I will then put your mobile number in there. I will then give you a buzz, and we will have a one-on-one chat. I'll normally text you first to let you know I'm calling. That way you don't miss my call, and then we'll have a one-on-one chat. I just want to make sure that that you've got an idea that we can work with, and that you're a real person. So there you go. So thanks, everyone. I'm going to go and have some dinner now. Thank you, everyone. We look forward to having you along. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Ask any questions. Lucy, thank you so much. I reckon this StreamYard is pretty good. I reckon it's yeah, it's a very, very good system. We should be using this from now on. So all the best, everyone. God bless. And hopefully we will see you in the first week of April. Thanks very much. See you later, everyone. Bye.